Okay, ready to go?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Since 1977, over 1,000 people have been executed in the United States. Over 3,000 people right now are on death row. Death penalty is the ultimate cruel punishment, and it's inhumane and degrading. My name is William Wang, and I'm here to talk about why the death penalty should be abolished. In this presentation, I'm going to be discussing the international context, the history in the United States, the cost, the public opinion, and the infamous Roger Coleman case. Starting off, the international context, the United States is one of only few Western civilized countries that approve of the death penalty right now. In 1999, the Amnesty International reported that 86% of all known executions took place in Congo, China, Iran, and the United States. Currently, there's 137 countries that ban the death penalty. And recently, China has also banned the death penalty, and that's because it's becoming a more developed country. And the reason that the death penalty is usually for underdeveloped countries is because it's usually for political oppression and to control the people. So many countries right now also they don't extradite people to the United States if they know they're going to be executed. The first recorded execution in the United States was in 1608, and from there, from 1930 to 1967, nearly 4,000 people have been convicted and executed from the death penalty. There's a famous case in 1972, the Furman versus Georgia case, where the Supreme Court decided that in order for someone to be executed, there has to be a large degree of consistency in application of the death penalty. This actually led to a 4-year ban of the death penalty. However, in 1976, the Supreme Court called a stoppage for the moratorium of the capital punishment in the United States. Now that you know some of the history, I'm going to discuss why it should be banned. The first one is because of the fiscal cost. It costs more to execute someone than to keep them in jail for the rest of their lives. In California, one of the state governments estimated that it costs $5 million to execute someone, while it only costs $1 million to imprison them for the rest of their lives. In Kansas, they actually abolished the death penalty because of the high cost. And also, one of the main arguments for to keep the death penalty is because they feel that if they keep it, then more people will be discouraged from committing harsh felonies and murders. However, there are studies that show there are no impacts of the death penalty, and there's no correlation between those two. States and countries without capital punishment do not have lower homicide rates, and in fact, in the South, there was a 4% increase of killings from 2006 to 2007. Also, the public opinion, more people are becoming less and less for the death penalty because it's there's many cases that prove that people are innocent, and if they actually do it too late, then people will be killed for no reason. And according to deathpenaltyinfo.org, 44% of people prefer people to have life without parole, compared to 41% who prefer the death penalty. There's a growing number of demonstrated instances of erroneous capital punishments, and there's also more alternatives to the death penalty, such as just putting them in jail for the rest of their lives. And also, race plays a huge factor into this. because blacks are significantly more likely to be sentenced to death as opposed to white people. This is especially true if the murder victim is white. 80% of the people executed have been executed for murders involving white victims. This also violates the 8th and 14th Amendment because the 8th Amendment it prohibits the cruel and unusual punishment, which the death penalty is, and the 14th Amendment, which prohibits racial discrimination. In the United States, there's actually a 7-to-6 death ratio of blacks to whites. So if blacks get killed more, then it should be a more evenly distributed racial death sentence. And also there's an increase in innocence. Many innocent have been sentenced to death and executed. As of April 9th, 2009, there has been 140 exonerations in 26 different states. The ADEPA in 1996 have found it more difficult to overturn appeals of their convictions, and many states do not provide financial assistance to people trying to prove their innocence, and that's especially unfair because people who are in jail for who are convicted of murder can't really afford the money to hire good lawyers to prove their innocence. And finally, there was a famous case of Roger Coleman. He was convicted of killing his sister-in-law. However, after the case, they found new evidence proving his innocence. However, the United States court refused to listen to that evidence, and they refused to hold the execution. So he was executed even though he was innocent. So in conclusion, I think the death penalty should be abolished because the United States is a very developed country, so they have other ways of preventing criminals from redoing their crimes. The death penalty is very inhumane, and there's also a lot of innocent people who may be convicted of murder and executed. So thank you for listening.